Hello and welcome back to my Mediterranean anti-cancer kitchen. I'm Middelmann-Whitney. I'm a certified nutritionist, cooking coach and health writer and author of Zest for Life, the Mediterranean Anti-Cancer Diet, which I published a few months ago. Today we'll be cooking a French bean soup. It's called soupe au pistou in French, and the pistou is basically the French equivalent of pesto, which is a lovely paste of basil, pine nuts, olive oil, garlic. Very lovely summer seasoning. It's a late summer soup, as you'll see from the ingredients. So first we have about 3 tablespoons of pesto. You can either make it yourself. There's a recipe in Zest for Life for homemade pesto, or you can buy a good quality pesto, ideally in a health food shop, making sure that it's made with olive oil rather than sunflower oil, because sunflower oil is rich in omega-6 fatty acids, which we try to avoid for health reasons. Next, save a few, if you can, a few basil leaves for garnish. Here are 2 finely chopped carrots, peeled and chopped, and also a large chopped onion and 2 chopped cloves of garlic. Next, 2 coarsely chopped tomatoes. Try to remove some of the seeds if you can. If you have trouble digesting tomato skins, skin them, otherwise just leave them on as I did. 2 coarsely chopped zucchini, 300 grams of navy beans, either out of a jar or soaked and cooked, but they should already be cooked, and the same amount of green beans. So you can see this is becoming, there's lots of colours and textures going on, and one of the wonderful things about this soup is that you pack in all these different plants and they all contain different nutrients. And as we know now, the more varied your diet and the larger the range of vegetables that you eat, the bigger your intake of cancer protective nutrients. Finally, 1 litre or 2 pints of chicken stock. You can use a stock cube, ideally one that doesn't contain MSG. You can get those at the health food shop. Or homemade chicken stock if you happen to have chicken bones left over from a roast chicken, as I did here. One of the advantages of using chicken stock made with real chicken is that it will also contain a lot of minerals, for instance calcium and magnesium from the chicken bones, which will nourish your own bones and your body overall. So let's start cooking. Preheat the pot slightly on sort of moderate heat. Put in about 2 tablespoons of olive oil, and then tip in the onions and the garlic. There we go. Stir them a little, make sure they're well covered, and salt them a little. It's useful to salt onions before they start cooking because it draws the juices out of the onions, and so they actually cook in their own juice, and that also prevents them from burning. So cook these a little, and then also add the cubed carrots. And now we'll cook these on moderate heat for 5 to 6 minutes. Once the onions are translucent, we add the chicken stock. And bring this to the boil. And then we let it simmer for about 10 minutes until the carrots are soft. Once the soup base has been simmering for about 10 minutes, we'll throw in the zucchini. There you go. And the green beans. And again, stir it around a little so everything's nicely submerged in the broth. And bring it back to the boil and put a lid on it. It'll speed things up. Let this cook another 10 minutes roughly until the beans are soft but still have a little bit of a bite, a little bit al dente. Finally, we're going to add the tomatoes and navy beans. Beans are a great source of plant protein. They also contain carbohydrates that transform very slowly into blood sugar, which is exactly what we're after. We want to eat foods that have a low glycemic index, like beans, which give us long, sustained energy levels and don't cause blood sugar spikes. The other great thing about beans is that they contain phytoestrogens they're called. They're compounds that mimic estrogen, but they're a very weak form of estrogen, and they are thought to protect against certain types of cancers that are hormone sensitive, like breast cancer or prostate cancer. So getting beans into your diet on a regular basis is a very good idea if you want to lower your risks of getting cancer. Now we've added these, given it a bit of a stir. Let's let it simmer again for about 5 minutes, and then we can just do the final seasoning and we're done. So everything is perfectly cooked and soft now. So let's turn off the heat and season the soup. Always leave the seasoning till the end to allow the flavours of all the ingredients to develop fully. And now we stir in very carefully so as not to break up all the vegetables. We stir in the pesto or pistou. The difference between pesto and pistou is that pistou doesn't contain cheese, so it's great for people who have lactose intolerance or dairy intolerance. And pistou also doesn't contain pine nuts, but you can use pesto, that's fine. Now, very carefully mix it in. There we go. So, to season, first of all, give it a go. This is very nice, but it needs a bit more salt. I describe in Zest for Life how I like to season food. I always leave it to the end, and then I check for saltiness, spiciness, sweetness, and acidity. And I try to make sure that they're all balanced. Oh, and fat as well. So we have olive oil, which provides a nice bit of healthy fat. We put a bit of salt in, and pepper for spice and salt. And the tomatoes and the lemon juice will provide the acidity. Much better. Just a little bit more lemon. I like to squeeze it over just in small drops. And, yep, it's perfect. So, just ladle some into a soup plate. Try not to splatter the edge like I just did. And then you garnish it with a little bit of chopped basil and enjoy.